Hi, Luke from Korg here. Today, very excited to meet Steve Levine. We're in his studio and I've brought all the Volcas along to show him, including the new Volca Kick. So let's dive in and have a look.
Well, I'm excited to see these, especially this kick, because I've only seen a brief moment of it on the internet. Yeah. So should we start with that one? If we're thinking of a backing track, start with the kick.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. So the Volca Kick is the newest of the 6 Volcas, as you said, just come out. And it's all about the kick drum. Although the Volca Beats has a kick drum in there, this is taking it to the next level because we have a lot more control basically over, and we're just concentrating on just the kick drum. It has the MS-20 filter in there as well, which we use as a resonator.
So it's an analog based device,
yes, completely
analog, and this is the filtering at the end, the last stage. Yeah?
Yes, exactly right. Yeah, and the resonator is used to give us the body of the sound. So what that does is it's the MS-20 filter. The resonance is cranked to the match, so we get a pitchable filter, and then that's used as the body of the sound, and we can adjust the pitch of it.
Okay. Yeah. And this is a very handy drive.
Yes.
Oh yeah. So
you can have some drive, and also the tone is like a filter as well.
Oh, I see. Yeah. So you get that kind of snappiness.
Yeah, that's right. And obviously, then here you can change the envelope as well.
So pitch to yes. Also, you can get the old reggae zap.
Yeah, you can get that if you want. And yeah, obviously that is the time it takes that zap to get to where it's going.
Yeah. That's going to sound fantastic on some reggae records that I can think of. It's one sound once, is it?
Yes, it is, yeah. And then, like the other Volcas, you have your 16-step sequencer, which you can program a pattern with.
How do you memorise your settings?
You have 16 memories, which also relate to these here.
So although it's analog, it has digital storage.
It does, yeah, exactly. Which is a little bit different from some of the other Volcas. Some of them do that and some of them don't. So what's great about this though, is that you have that digital aspect to it. Well, although the sound itself is completely analog.
Well, as you're the expert, show me, get a kick drum and then let's...
Well, there's already a few memorised patterns.
Oh, are there?
Yeah,
okay.
Which are great. So if I just load, say, one of these.
And the pattern has the sound associated with it?
It does,
still.
yeah.
Excellent.
So if I press play now, it'll play. This is just a 4/4 kick drum with a little bit on the edge. And then you can go press step mode and you can see the steps.
So if you've written a song and this is an integral part of the backing track, the sound that you may have slaved over for hours is restored as part of your sequence.
This is one of my favourite features about this new one. Pretty much the only criticism of some of these other analog ones is that obviously you sculpt your sound, and then that is your sound, but it's quite easy to lose it. So here you don't get that problem. So of course they're completely analog.
And it's I see 16 here. So is there 16 sections that you can record? 16
steps. So it's one bar of music effectively. Okay. But then you can, if you want to, on this one, you can chain them together. Right. So you can chain up to 16 patterns.
That's what I meant. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So so you've got a lot of scope there.
Because that's a way of working that everyone's quite familiar with, and I think it works really well. So you'd have your 16 lots of 1 bars, which you can then and can you change them on the fly? So if I want that one, if I do, it goes to the next.
Yeah. So that's changing the steps. Yeah. But if I wanted to change to a different pattern, just hold down memory.
Right. And so you can, and it'll do it at the next bar.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah. So it's really clever from that point of view.
So that's interesting. I've just heard you change this. So if you change a different pattern and that pattern has a different sound associated with that, changes as well. It does, yeah. Oh, that's very exciting for choruses versus middles. Yeah.
But at the same time, you have to be careful. So if you want to maintain that same kick drum sound for the next section, you've got to make sure it's the same sound. So.
And is real-time control over it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
So actually you could stick to a couple of very basic patterns and then in real time sculpt it to record to...
Absolutely. Yeah. And even better, you've got motion record on here, so it'll actually record all of these automation things as well.
Oh, excellent.
So if you hit record...
Right, now play me that back. Oh, excellent.
Straight away.
Oh, because we're looping the one bar.
Because it's live, yeah, exactly.
That's fabulous, yeah, that's really good.
And that goes for all of the different parameters on there.
That's very, very fast.
It's just so great for capturing that moment of inspiration.
Does that include the drive?
Yep. So if you hit record, so there you go.
Yeah, perfect. And as it drops out of record at the end of the bar, that's quite handy, so you don't make a mistake.
You don't accidentally overwrite the beginning again.
No, that's good.
Yes,
that's good.
It's all cleverly thought out. What's also nice is that you have active step. So what that allows you to do is change up the time signature a little bit. So if you hold down function and press active step, sorry, you just press active step. It shows you the 16 steps, so you can miss out steps.
Oh, excellent, yeah.
And that works really well if you're then using it in conjunction with some other Volcas, which are, say, playing in 4/4, that could be playing in 3/4, it could be playing in some 15/16 or some really weird signs.
Presumably the final volume output is not memorised, is it?
No, that isn't, no. I think the only thing...
tempo memorised?
Tempo isn't, although it can be clocked via MIDI, so you could have some automation.
So we could have, for example, on Volca Beats, the rhythm and an additional kick on here.
Let's do that if you like. Well, what I've got here are some cables.
Right.
So these are sync cables, these come included. So I can go sync out of the beats and then into the kick.
Right.
So what that means is then the tempo, this will be the master, this will be the slave. So I can play a pattern here, which is a whole pattern.
Right.
And then if you press play, then play in sync.
Excellent.
And then this dictates the tempo.
And so you can still do all this colorizing of the thing. Sounds to me that they're really tight in sync as well, because there's a kick drum playing on this pattern. Can we just isolate the two kicks?
Yeah, sure. We can go mute.
Or record a new pattern.
Yeah, let's make a new pattern. Okay, let's
start from the beginning. Let's do a really simple four
to the floor kick, So I'm on my kick part, so I'm going to go step mode. Let's put my kick in. There you go.
Right, perfect. Right, let's do the same on this.
Same on this. Clear it.
Yeah.
Step mode.
So click off that one for a second. Oh, that's excellent. That's really,
it's absolutely nailed, isn't it?
And we're recording it into the computer, and I can see that it looks pretty bang on. That's worth knowing, because I incorporate quite a lot of vintage stuff now and then, and you kind of lose where one is.
Absolutely, That's why these cables are great, because it's easy to sync these, and also things like the MS-20.
But I like the idea of you could have the drum pattern there, and you can just enhance one of the most difficult things to have in a track, because a lot of the drum machines, it's the kick drum that, it's not that it lets it down, it's just that you do often need to maybe pitch it correctly to the track. Having a perfectly in tune bass drum, particularly on certain dance music, and if it's really long, you need the right note.
You do, and there's a lot of dance music now, that's an integral part of it, as you say, and it needs to be in the right tune.
Yeah, this is fantastic.
And as you can see, you can tune it really easily, or you can play it on the keyboard in notes. So this is actually a chromatic keyboard.
Excellent.
So you can actually play melodies, if you like, with the kick drum as well, if you want to go down that route.
So that's those two. Very exciting. So the others, I suppose, the next fresh off the fresh off the boat, as it were.
This one also launched this year.
Yeah.
This is the Volca FM. So I love this one. This is basically our take on FM synthesis.
Right. I'm excited to see this, because I have in my rack some of the original vintage stuff, so I'd be very curious to see if I can transfer a sound.
Oh, well, maybe we'll give that a go a bit later. So this is our Volca FM. So it's the same architecture, if you like, as the original Yamaha DX7 and some of the other DX synths. And that's very exciting, because obviously there's a hell of a lot of sounds out there all ready to import. It's got all the same parameters as the original one. You actually get this card, which you get with it, which has all the original parameters on there, and all the 32 algorithms. This
is very similar to the old DX7s, isn't it? To have the different operators.
It's brilliant. So you've got your 6 operators, and then you can choose which one of the carriers and which ones are the modulators. But what we've tried to do with this is make it a little bit more simple, because that's the kind of thing about FM synthesis. It wasn't always the easiest to program. So we've given you some basic parameters, and then if you want to go deeper, you can. Plus you can edit it from a software editor as well. Some of the software editors that are out there, which is really good. So it's a 3-part poly FM synth. and you can specify which mode, whether it's poly mode, mono mode, or unison,
right,
which is nice. It's got an arpeggiator built in as well, and a step sequencer like the other Volcas. So it's a little bit different from the original DXs, but similar architecture. So you've got 32 programs in there straight away, so we can go through, and they're all listed on this display.
So being that you've got 3 voices, it would be ideal if it were, for example, classic DX bass, you could have the 2 octaves, because there's a couple of sounds I remember from my modules, which is why I had the original TX816, is that very often one sound sounded really good, just played monophonically, even though it was polyphonic. The moment you played other notes, it didn't quite sound the same, whereas if you then used the adjacent channel, which is a whole new synthesizer, to play the octave, it sounded so much better.
Yeah. And that's
why that was, I don't know.
That's one of those mysteries, isn't it? But yeah, you've got a similar thing here in a way, because you've got these mono and unison modes. So if I find this kind of, that's in poly mode, but then if I put it into unison mode, you get that kind of thing, which is really nice. So you can change things like the modulator attack, as well as regular attack. Plus you've got your arpeggiator.
How many memories does that have for storing sounds?
It has 32.
Right.
So it comes with 32 already preloaded, but of course you can overwrite those with your own, or import existing DX patches. And of course they've all got MIDI, which is great, so you can connect it to a regular controller keyboard. And that's also the way that you import your SysX data.
Maybe we'll try that in a moment.
Yes, we should.
Okay, well, let me hear it. So let's have a little quick bass line on that, and then we can run these 2 together.
Yeah, so so you've got memories here. So if I load up some of the memories,
stick to
that, you get some of the kind of preset sounds. And then if you wanted to sync it, say to the beats, just go out of there into there.
And then the tempo.
Yeah. So that's hi-hat. What's nice is that you can get the pattern you like, but then you can try changing sounds and the pattern will keep playing. So you can kind of audition different sounds with different patterns. You also have a velocity slider. So that's as if on the original DX you were playing with different velocities on the keyboard. And again, that's MIDI controllable.
Right, and can that be written in as a part?
Yes, yes, it can. Yeah, it can be. Yeah, it can be recorded as motion sequence. So
that's motion sequence. That's the phrase I need to learn.
It's basically, if you think of that like automation on in a DAW. So it's the kind of same thing.
Yeah. Excellent. Oh, that's very impressive.
Yeah, it's very
really good. So those 3 are a really cracking way of having a cool drum and bass.
They are. Yeah.